Hey everyone, ever find yourself wondering why things feel different as you get older? Well, today we're going to take a deep dive into the science of aging with this Medline Plus article about the changes our bodies go through.
Yeah, it's kind of like going behind the scenes, isn't it? Beyond just like the wrinkles and gray hair, we're going to get down to like the cellular level, the stuff that's really driving those changes.
I'm ready to get cellular. But the article kicks off with the basics, those 4 types of tissues that make up our bodies.
Right, like think of it as like the building blocks, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We've got connective tissue, which is kind of like the framework that holds everything together.
Like the beams and supports in a building, right?
Exactly. Then you've got epithelial tissue, forming like a protective barrier. Think skin.
So like the outer walls, the roof, yeah.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah.
Then we got to have those parts that make us move and function, right?
Right.
So that's where muscle tissue comes in. It's the engine, so to speak.
Like the electrical and plumbing systems, right? Keeping everything running.
Exactly. And of course, can't forget the nervous tissue, the communication network.
All the wiring, keeping those signals going. It's amazing how all these different tissues work together. But the article says they change over time, right? What's going on at the cellular level?
Well, as we age, those cells, they go through some pretty big changes. They might actually get larger. They start to lose that ability to divide and multiply like they used to. And they even start accumulating waste products.
So it's not just things slowing down. It's like the building blocks are actually changing.
Exactly. And get this, you can actually feel these cellular changes in your own body.
Wait, really?
Think about it. When you were younger, could you pull an all-nighter? No problem, right? Or recover from a tough workout super quick?
Yeah, not so much anymore.
Right, well, that's because younger cells regenerate faster. As we age, that repair process slows down.
Okay. So that's why those aches and pains seem to linger.
You got it. And the article talks about reserve capacity. It's like your body's backup generator.
Okay, backup generator. I like that.
When we're young, our organs have tons of this reserve. They can handle those all-nighters, those unexpected stresses.
So like they're working overtime when they need to.
Exactly. But as we age, that reserve starts to decline.
So it's like our organs are running on a lower power setting.
That's a great way to put it. They're still functioning, but maybe not with that same youthful vigor. And the article specifically mentions the heart, lungs, and kidneys as examples. They kind of gradually lose some of that reserve capacity.
Oh, so they might not be as resilient.
Yeah, to things like stress, illness, maybe even medications, like having a smaller safety net, Still functioning, but you might want to be more careful pushing those limits.
Makes sense. So it's not like everything just shuts down. It's about being aware of those shifts.
Right.
And kind of adjusting how we live.
Exactly. Working with your body and not against it. And, the article goes on to talk about some really cool ways our cells change. They use some pretty specific terms.
Oh, I noticed that.
Yeah, but once you understand them, they're actually pretty straightforward.
Okay, let's decode this cellular language then.
All right. One term they mention is atrophy. You've probably heard that before, especially with muscles. It basically means shrinking.
Oh, yeah. Like if you don't use a muscle, it gets smaller. That's atrophy, right?
Exactly. But atrophy can happen in other organs, too, like your heart, brain, even organs like the breasts and ovaries. Sometimes it's just a normal part of aging. Sometimes it can be from other things like decreased blood supply or hormonal changes.
So not always a bad thing.
Yeah.
It's something to be aware of.
Right. Then you've got hypertrophy, the opposite of atrophy, cells getting bigger. Sometimes this happens to kind of compensate for the loss of other cells.
So like they're working overtime to pick up the slack.
Exactly. And then there's hyperplasia, an increase in the number of cells. This is actually how some organs regenerate.
Oh, so that's how our skin renews itself.
Exactly, like our skin, the lining of our intestines.
Okay, so it's like we've got this built-in repair system.
To a certain extent, yeah. Like the liver's a champ at this. It can actually replace like 70% of itself after an injury. But not all tissues are so lucky.
Oh, really?
Yeah, bones, cartilage, smooth muscle, they have a more limited ability to bounce back.
Got it. So some tissues are better at renewing than others.
Right. Now let's talk about dysplasia. Sounds kind of scary, but it's basically when cells start looking abnormal, like under a microscope, changes in their size, shape, or organization. It can be a kind of precursor to more serious problems, especially in the cervix and respiratory tract.
Okay, so that's definitely something you'd want to catch early on.
Absolutely. Regular screenings are super important. And then lastly, we have neoplasia, which is the formation of tumors.
So this is where things could potentially get serious, right?
Yeah, both benign and malignant. Neoplastic cells, they multiply quickly and often don't function normally. That uncontrolled growth, that's a hallmark of cancer.
Wow, we've covered a lot. from the building blocks of tissues all the way to these cellular changes. It's amazing how much is happening under the surface, you know?
It really is. And the more we learn about these processes, the better we can make choices to support our health, especially as we age.
Absolutely. Makes you think about those lifestyle choices.
Yeah.
But with all these changes going on, it could be kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
What are some key things you think our listeners should really focus on?
Well, first off, just remember, aging is natural. Some decline is going to happen, but there's a lot we can do to age healthfully. Understanding these cellular changes, it helps us make better choices about our health, you know?
So it's not about stopping aging, it's about working with it.
Yeah, exactly. It's about making choices to support those changes, you know?
And those choices really do matter, don't they?
They do. Think about it. Regular exercise, a balanced diet, managing stress, these aren't just trendy things, you know?
Right. It's not just about looking good, it's about feeling good too.
Yeah, they really impact how our cells function, how well our bodies handle those changes.
It's like investing in our future selves, right?
Love that. Investing in your health, absolutely. And remember, you don't have to go it alone, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Your doctor, they're a great resource for any questions or concerns.
Yeah, that's really reassuring, having someone to talk to. This has been so insightful. I feel like I have a whole new perspective on aging.
Right. And what's so cool is that the article, it doesn't try to oversimplify things, you know?
Oh, what do you mean?
Like, they don't say this is the one theory of aging. They acknowledge that it's this complex combination of factors, you know?
Oh, so like our genes, our environment, our lifestyle.
Exactly. All those things play a role.
Makes sense. We're all different, so we're going to age differently too.
Right. That's what makes it so interesting. There's still so much we're learning about aging.
It's like an ongoing mystery, right?
Mm-hmm.
Always more to discover. So, to wrap up our deep dive today, I have a question for our listeners. If aging is influenced by all these different factors, what do you think plays the biggest role? Is it your genes, your environment, your habits? Or maybe it's a mix of everything. We'd love to hear your thoughts.
And remember, this is just the start of the conversation, right? There's so much info out there to explore. Keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep taking care of yourselves.
That's a wrap for another deep dive. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time for more explorations into the fascinating world around us.